Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Pat, here from Laid Back Languages. I combine psychology and language learning to make it easy for you as an adult learning your first foreign language, to get rid of those mental blocks and to actually learn a foreign language properly and speak it fluently. If you like the sound of that, subscribe to the channel and check out the website laidbacklanguages.com if you're interested in learning French, Spanish, Italian or Brazilian Portuguese. Today's video, I want to talk to you about listening. Now, I am a huge fan of listening. In fact, I think listening is the number one important language learning skill that a lot of people mistakenly neglect, and that's why they never reach fluency in a foreign language. Specifically, I want to talk to you about listening to podcasts. Now, my friends, in 2024, if you are not listening to podcasts to help you learn a foreign language, what are you doing? Podcasts are king. Podcasts are the best way for you to improve your listening and get to fluency in a foreign language. However, what should you be listening to? Now, I'm not here to make friends, okay? I'm not here to make friends, so I'm going to tread on some toes here. I won't mention any names of certain podcasts. However, there are some brands of podcasts called something in slow, whatever the language is. It's basically a slowed down version. Let's say you're learning Spanish. You want to speak Spanish fluently, and you want to understand the Spanish speakers who speak like they're rapping half the time, I'll be honest with you. Certainly from Spain, they speak very, very fast. And in order to understand them, you are supposed to listen to slow Spanish spoken like this. Avoid those podcasts. Even if you're a beginner, I know you're thinking, but I'm a beginner, I don't understand if they speak really fast. This is why I'm making this video. Because, my friends, you do not need to understand everything when you listen to a podcast. Let me say that again. You don't need to understand everything. You are not listening to the podcast to gain information and understand everything about what the person is talking about. Oh no, you are listening to that podcast to learn the language that they are speaking. And your brain is a very, very intelligent, super intelligent learning machine. It's a language learning machine, and it recognizes patterns and sounds, and you will be able to use your brain to pick up any language you want, because this is what the brain does. The brain will focus in on words it's heard before. It will recognize it. For example, if I tell you right now, start noticing everything that's blue in the room right now. What's blue? What's blue? Your brain starts picking up blue, 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 blue. It does this with language as well. All you've got to do when you listen to a podcast is focus on what you do understand. Let your brain focus in and zoom in on what it does understand. And the other words it will be hearing, you might not know the translation in your native language, but that doesn't matter. Your brain is smart. Your brain will start to feel into the language. It will start to work out more or less what the words mean. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, but if I don't know what it means, what about if I mistranslate the words and get it wrong? Well, this is the beauty. You're not translating them either way. You're just listening to them. Eventually, your subconscious mind will start to take on these words, and you'll start to recognize them when you listen in other contexts or when you speak to your teacher. The words will seem familiar. You'll be like, oh, that word rings a bell, and I think I know what it means, but I'm not 100% sure. That's the time that you get the translation and you go, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. But your brain has already done 85% of the heavy lifting by then, because you have given it access to the language spoken at a normal pace. My rules for podcasts are listen to podcasts that you're interested in. There's no point listening to something, oh, find it a bit boring. Oh, this is boring. I don't want to listen to this podcast anymore. It's so boring. I don't care about the history of Rome. I just want to learn Italian. Then don't listen to it. Listen to something you are interested in, listen to something that you enjoy listening to, listen to something that is just maybe a couple of notches above your level, because as I'm talking about in this video, you don't need to understand everything. So listen to something that's above your level rather than right on your level. You know, you don't want to be in your comfort zone, guys, when you're listening to something. You want to be at your comfort zone thinking, okay, I don't understand everything. I don't quite, I think I get the gist of what's going on here, but I'm not really 100% sure. That's the perfect feeling you want. Now, with this, I'm not just telling you to listen to this one podcast once and then throw it away and go, well, that's my listening done. Well done, brain. Remember some of that now. No. Doesn't work like that. You have to repeat the same podcast. This is why when people ask me, oh, Pat, so for my listening this week, there's a really good series I've been watching in Spanish, and so I'm watching that instead of the podcast. Is that okay? It's never a bad thing to expose yourself to more of the language. I'm never going to tell one of my clients, you shouldn't be watching La Casa de Papel in Spanish because it's not appropriate for your Spanish learning. It's any extra of the language is great. However, television series and films do not replace podcasts. Why? Because you're not going to sit down and listen and re-watch the same film over and over again. You're not going to do that. It's not feasible. You get so bored of doing that. This is why podcasts are the best. 10 to 20 minute podcasts. I like to choose maybe 3 podcasts and I rotate them over 1 week or 2 weeks until I get bored. And every time you listen again to that same podcast, your brain will start picking up different words. It will start understanding and intuiting the expressions. If nothing else, you'll start to get familiar with the sounds. And whilst you listen, God, I'm giving away maybe too many of my top secrets here, but whatever, this is just going to be an epic video for you. While you're doing that, parrot, speak what you are hearing. It doesn't matter if you don't understand it. We don't care about comprehension at this point. We're just getting used to the sounds. So if you're listening to a podcast and they say, let's do Spanish, a nice simple thing most people can understand. Buenos días. ¿Qué tal estás? You hear that. You don't understand. ¿Qué tal estás? You've heard buenos días. Okay, good morning, buenos días, good days. Okay, ¿qué tal estás? You're not quite sure, but you parrot it anyway. ¿Qué tal estás? ¿Qué tal estás? ¿Qué tal estás? Eventually, your brain will pick up that you're saying, ¿Qué tal estás? Oh, how are you? ¿Qué tal estás? Your brain is a super intelligent computer. Let it do its work. All you have to do is facilitate your brain's learning. You do not learn a foreign language, my friend. Your brain does. Your only job is to make its job easier. Alright, I think that's everything I want to say in today's video. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment in the comment section below as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to learn French, Spanish, Italian or Brazilian Portuguese, check out my website www.laidbacklanguages.com. God bless. I'll speak to you in another video. Ciao.